Hello.
Hi, Abhinav.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, Manvi. Nice to meet you too.
So imagine this, you are hired as a marketing leader at Zara and you have been asked to launch a contemporary wedding collection in India. But that's not it. You have an even bigger challenge because you've hired Alia Bhatt to be the face of this campaign,
There are multiple stakeholders. They want different things. Alia Bhatt wants different things.
who insists that the whole collection should be a lot more traditional, but Zara Global disagrees and wants to make it more contemporary. How would you get both parties aligned? How would you still make the launch happen?
We can't change global brand values overnight, but what we can do is play around with the styling of it.
We've put together a case study based mock interview for the role of creative head. The salary range for this role is anywhere between 40 and 60 lakhs. But it's not just about the big money. It's also about the impact that someone can create with a role like this in a brand's journey. If you're hoping to crack a role like this one that has big money and big impact, then meet Minhaz. Minhaz has previously built campaigns for Amazon, Flipkart, Fimoney, and a lot more. And today, we will put her through a mock interview wherein she will show you her interviewing strategies, how she problem solves on the go.
Is just to create buzz around it. I would actually just drop like unseen photos from the Ranveer Alia wedding and do that as a pre-campaign launch to just drive conversation.
And how she manages stakeholders. Abhinav and I use our 18 years of combined experience to craft these mock interviews that challenge the candidate and bring something for you to learn from.
All right. So this is a case study interview for the creative head role. It's a hypothetical situation. Zara has roped in Alia Bhatt, and what these guys are trying to do is they're launching a wedding collection, traditional wedding attire in India. Now, this is a call that's been taken. There are multiple stakeholders. They want different things. Alia Bhatt wants different things. And we also don't want to get on the wrong foot with the global Zara brand image. So that's what we're diving into. What do you think about this coming in? How do you assess the situation? Do you have any clarification questions?
I do. So when you're saying wedding, what kind of wedding wear are you talking about? Now, when they're bringing this aspect of wedding wear to India, is it going to be a 360-degree turn in the kind of designs we're going to be seeing in Zara?
So it's localized, but it's still contemporary silhouettes. It's still your pantsuits, your crop tops, gowns, for instance, but with traditional motifs. It's not lehengas, saris. So it's not necessarily bridal wear, it's just wedding wear.
You mentioned that Alia's team has very specific pointers in terms of how they'd like to approach the campaign. Do we have any inputs that's come in from there in terms of what they're comfortable with, what they're not comfortable with, and what are internal stakeholders feeling about that?
Alia specifically has asked to do a lehenga, and the logic that they come with is, hey, we want to do something that Indians relate to and think of when they think wedding. Because naturally Indians think, okay, lehenga, first thing that comes to mind when it's a wedding. But obviously internal stakeholders are not open to it because, well, that's just not something we want to do.
What we can look at doing is try to figure out how we can mix and match some of these designs to kind of create that Indian outfit, but maybe with core Zara pieces, right? So maybe in parts of the campaign, what we can do is look at shooting like a really fun embellished crop top, but maybe use that with a really flouncy skirt. So it looks like a lehenga, but you're kind of playing around with it. But I think it is important to clarify to the team that this is not who we are. Zara as a brand globally has a global image to keep up with. We respect her opinion. We understand where the team is coming from. And we have taken that into consideration, which is why we're going to keep the silhouettes contemporary because that's also Alia Bhatt's vibe. She is modern, she is new age. She does stand for a lot of things that are new and fresh, even in the film space. And which is why we thought in the first place that this is a great blend of personalities and brands that are coming together.
Sure.
So I'd have that alignment first. And since internally this is already sorted, we go ahead and push because we can't change global brand values overnight. But what we can do is play around with the styling of it. So that is how I'd probably tackle it.
Can you give me build a personality for me? Quick ICP.
Quick ideal consumer profile I'd say would be a 25-year-old has enough money, is looking for fresh designs, 25 to 30, 31. They're still in that space where they're open to experimenting. As you earn more you want to upgrade your life. and spend on better brands, better things, and better lifestyle. So I'd use maybe 25 to 30, working professional, dating, has a very active social life, probably goes once a week or like once a month at least to Bastion for dinner, career driven, focused, but at the same time takes care of themselves physically, mentally, a heavy social media user, very aware of what's going on, may not necessarily buy a fashion magazine, but social media keeps them abreast in terms of what trends are. So that would be my ICP.
Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Pune.
Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Pune, and then secondly, maybe people that have gotten married and moved to smaller towns, but Zara now does online delivery, so people have access, they're still aware, and spending propensities, they're in a smaller town again.
But roots in Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Pune, etc.
Bigger cities,
Hyderabad.
And people in like a tier 2 that want to live that big city life.
Could you build a marketing campaign for the launch of the wedding collection? How would you position it? How would you leverage Alia Bhatt? And what would you do in surround?
Got it.
And I would love to know the creative angle that you...
Got it. So I think we need to kind of like leverage Alia's star power for sure, because again, I think a lot of fashion is built on social media these days. And Zara as a brand, again, from a marketing standpoint, purely observational, what I have seen over the years is they don't invest in brand campaigns heavily, right? There are brands.
What is a brand campaign?
A brand campaign, say film, ad, outdoor, hoardings, print.
Okay, so what does Zara do?
Zara generally keeps it very classy, very minimal. They let their clothes do the shopping, and I guess it's also largely to do with the fact that they put their money in production of clothes because they are churning out fashion every 2 weeks. And they use their money to do that versus spending very, very heavily on advertising.
So how do they advertise? How do people get to know?
People get to know about Zara because they go either into the store and they've positioned themselves as this brand where you're constantly going to get refreshed styles. Of late in India, I have noticed that they're spending a little bit on paid marketing, but again, not too much.
Okay.
The app becomes a huge point. In-store becomes a huge point. And word of mouth becomes a huge point. I would want to keep that core because again, I think we're spending a lot on a celeb because celebs come with their own cost. And I would use the celeb in a very, very strategic way to kind of launch the campaign. So I think Ranbir and Alia's wedding has been a huge point of conversation during, the time that they got married. And, they're so low-key, they're so private, no paps were allowed. They were very, very particular about the kind of footage that they were releasing. So for this campaign, maybe what I'd do is just to create buzz around it, I would actually just drop like unseen photos from the Ranbir Alia wedding and do that as a pre-campaign launch to just drive conversation. Because I think for any launch, especially when it comes to fashion, the pre-part of it and the day of the launch is a lot more important than what happens after. Sure. So I'd use that.
And it's literally no Zara integration in the pre.
In the pre, no, because
it's just setting the
it's just setting the status because again, everyone wanted to know what Alia had worn, who had done her makeup, who did her hair, where were her shoes
so
from.
It's a repost or it's a post of
Alia posts. Alia posts a photo and you can.
It's a repost of because she's already released the pictures. You want to release the next series of it.
It's going to start with Alia releasing just photos saying unseen photos from my wedding, you guys, and she basically starts talking about hair, makeup, outfit. And she tags the brands in her caption.
Non-Zara.
No, she tags Zara because she says whatever she's wearing a crop top or whatever it is, that like a lehenga top. She tags Zara, and it could just be literally one day before the launch, and that creates enough buzz. Sure. The next day you kind of launch. So with Alia, I'd like to shoot some very classic Zara style videos which can go on app. For example, keep it very classy, minimal, editorial in that sense, right? Great styling, great makeup, and just talk about the Zara limited edition wedding capsule collection featuring Alia. And then you have like Alia doing like just really nice editorial. It could be black and white with a pop of color, just really interesting looks that we have curated, and that happens on the app. Post which I'd activate influencer marketing and PR to kind of talk about looks that can be done with this collection, right? How do you keep it cool, but at the same time, how do you keep it classy and Indian as well? So how can you style these looks? Maybe we could have like Alia do a recreation. She had done a movie, right? What is that? Humpty Sharma Ki Dulhania, where she was looking for the perfect lehenga for her wedding. Maybe she recreates one of that and drops a reel. So really use the power of Alia, social and influencer and PR to kind of build the marketing campaign for this capsule launch.
What would you do retail-wise?
Retail-wise, I'd keep it to very, very classy, simple, really beautiful shots of Alia. I think beautiful shots of Alia in the clothes, more than enough to kind of just set the mood and the vibe. Maybe dress up some of the mannequins in the outfits. but keep it very classy. I'm going to stick to the Zara ethos, which is generally to keep it simple, minimalistic. They are a high street fashion brand, but they also like to be seen as a little more luxurious in the way that they are.
In India only.
No, globally also they don't do much. Like they keep their marketing and the way that their stores are laid out, it's pretty standard, right? Because people do go to a Zara to kind of get the best.
I'm talking about the
fashion stuff.
perception.
Perception also, like a Zara and a Mango, they might be priced similarly, but the perception is very different.
In India.
No, globally as well.
Okay.
So I think I would like to stick to that and make sure that you're kind of playing around with our strengths and retail and keeping things fun, interesting in the Zara realm of things is how I'd go about it.
To sum up, I want your brief one-liner about the stances with Alia's team, because they wanted to do something heavy, traditional Indian lehenga, and your stance with the creative team. If you could sum both these approaches.
I think when you're working with any celebrity team, it's important to kind of make sure that you need to kind of be diplomatic, but at the same time, you need to make sure that you're able to communicate effectively what the brand stands for as well. And I know that it's a tough one, right? Because celebrities also come with their own vision. So we need to make sure that they feel heard.
Stand for something.
Yes, they stand for something. And I think as people that stand for something, it also becomes easier for us to explain to them that we hear you, but this is also what we stand for, to try and find a middle ground that works for both parties, because we're also looking at an association as not a one-time thing, right? We're invested in this person. So how can we make sure that this association is something that we want to run for a really long time? So that is one. I think with the creative team, it is to kind of get them to also think and try and understand the business logic behind it. Because again, creativity without borders is what would be ideal. But at the end of the day, the reality is when you walk into an office, we're all solving very, very specific problems using creativity as a tool. And I think it becomes very easy to get carried away. But having those frameworks to kind of say target group, brand values, now work within this and do the best, that is where the real strength lies.
Okay, super. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll wait to hear back from you guys.
Absolutely.